I'm Mark Elliott, in for Casey Kasem. Coming up as we roll into the third hour of our survey, a page from our Casey's Top 40 scrapbook on the number one-hit wonder of all time. After hitting the top within the year 2525, the duo was never heard from again.
Casey's Coast to Coast. Casey's Top 40.
Now, it's time to open our Casey's Top 40 scrapbook to the page on the number one-hit wonder act of all time. This week in 1969, they had the number one song in the USA. After that, they were never heard from again. Back in the late 60s, a pair of singer-songwriters named Denny and Rick were struggling along playing motel lounges in their hometown of Lincoln, Nebraska. One of the songs they'd perform all the time was a number Rick had written in only 30 minutes. They got such a terrific response to the song every time they played it that they pooled their savings, which added up to $500, and recorded the song. Then they pressed 1,000 copies and released it as the only record on their own label, which they called Truth Records. They distributed it themselves, and eventually they turned it into a local hit in Nebraska. Well, it didn't take long for the single to find its way to RCA Records. RCA released it nationally, and it became an instant smash. And 3 weeks after it hit the charts, it went all the way to number one. That song sounded like this.
In the year 2525, if man is still alive.
In the summer of the year 1969, In the Year 2525 by Zagar and Evans was the number one song in the USA, and it stayed at the top for 6 consecutive weeks. What happened after that? Well, as far as the pop chart is concerned, nothing. You see, Denny Zagar and Rick Evans had decided, even before their song became a big hit, that it wasn't the type of music they really liked making. They decided to call it quits. And so with 6 weeks at number one, Zagar and Evans became the number one-hit wonder act of all time. Another page from our Casey's Top 40 scrapbook. And the countdown rolls on.
Casey's Top 40.